All right, we are going to do Chapter 7's Problem 6. It is on page 291 and a little bit of it's on page 292 and a little bit of 293 for those playing along at home. So we'll just make that 292. And this is a make or buy situation. So we have to figure out the incremental costs of making our own containers for our product versus buying them. So they give you the whole story. Read that on your own and maybe restart this after you've done so. But I'm going to jump into how we actually calculate which one is better than the other. We're going to be looking at this from the perspective of what we would save if we bought the containers. So the reason why I do that perspective is mainly that's the information they give us. So you have to be flexible and work with the information. But in this case, if we buy the containers from someone else, we have to spend $1.75 for 100,000 packages. So that's going to cost us $175,000. So that's the cost of buying our containers. Now, the product, they give us a whole lot of information about a certain percent of direct materials, direct labor, and variable overhead that we're going to save from buying our containers from someone else. So for direct materials, we save 10% of their cost. So by getting the container from someone else, we'll save 10% of the $6.50 it costs us to make a product. And if we do that for 100,000 units, our savings are going to be $65,000. For direct labor, we save 20% of the $3.50 it costs us to make our product. So for 100,000 units, that's going to be $70,000 in savings. For variable manufacturing overhead, I'm actually going to do a calculation because, as you can probably see from your book, they just gave you overhead and it's got fixed and variable together. So this is the twist in this problem. We have to find out how much of that's variable and how much of that's fixed. So if our fixed overhead in total is $200,000, and we are going to make 100,000 units, we have $2 per unit of fixed overhead. So the book tells you that the total overhead, fixed and variable, is $3 per unit. So that leaves us with, get your calculators ready, $1 per unit of variable. So that's our variable overhead, and they tell us we save 15% of it. So it's 15% of the $1 per unit that we have to pay out, and we're going to use that savings for 100,000 units if we buy the containers. So our savings will be $15,000. So when we tally all that good stuff up, we end up saving $235,000. Let me move that up for you. And so that's our cost savings. And if you recall, our incremental costs of actually having to buy these things was $175,000, so we calculated that at the beginning of this. So our net savings, or net benefit, is $60,000. So to answer their question, we are going to buy the containers because doing so would save us $60,000 in costs. Thanks, and good luck on the other problems.